Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sports Design School. If you've been keeping up with the channel recently, you know we've been following along with our Sports Design School playoff, and today is another extension of that series. Today we have two talented creatives facing off head to head. Now a little bit of an update on the playoff. Unfortunately, this round was supposed to be Jake Created versus SG Visuals. Now unfortunately, SG Visuals had something come up and was unable to compete in the competition, but no worries, we had Panthers Latest coming in to save the day and take his place. So today we're going to be featuring designs from both Jake Created and Panthers Latest on Instagram, and I'll link both of their portfolios down in the description if you want to check them out. But let's just dive into the video and see what these guys came up with. Now here we have Jake Created on Instagram, and again, Jake is an awesome designer. I was super excited looking at his work. He has sharp designs. Make sure you hit him with the follow on Instagram. I'll be sure to put a link down to his Instagram down below if you'd like to check that out. But I really enjoyed Jake's work, and so let's just dive in and watch it. So this one I had to speed up pretty quickly just because it was like 30 minutes long or whatever, I'm fairly certain. And so right off the bat, he's just jumping into the helmet swap. And you can see he's just taking elements of the Gardner Minshew face mask and then putting it on to the Trevor Lawrence face mask. Again, he's just using the pen tool to cut out parts of the helmet and then warp them into place. It's pretty tedious in terms of how much time it takes, but I think the results look pretty good. We then have an interesting thing. It looks like he cut out the jersey and then is going through and removing all of the different elements. So that's a pretty standard jersey swap tutorial effect where you just kind of remove all of the elements on the jersey. It's interesting in this challenge so far. I've seen so many different people do jersey swaps, and they spend so much time on the jersey swaps that they're not necessarily spending a lot of time on the graphic, which isn't a bad thing. I think it's an interesting way of seeing the different methods of people doing jersey swaps and stuff. I think I saw some Getty images in there, so good for you, Jake. Again, this is going pretty fast. I apologize if it's too fast. I'll try to slow it down for next round so we're able to kind of really kind of break down each step in the process. These were so long with being the jersey swap. Okay, so we have some different fonts. It looks like nice, some cool text effects using the official Jaguars color scheme. And it really looks like Jake's going through a more simple approach here, which is one that I really enjoy. And he has this cool texture. Like, this looks like the exact kind of thing that if you were to take, just like on Bleacher Report or ESPN, specifically like SportsCenter, it looks like the kind of thing they would put on their social media for sure. Love what he's doing here with the Jaguar logo in the background. Anytime you have like a really awesome logo, I think it's so cool to be able to just use it in the background as like a little bit of a texture. I don't know. Adding the drafted text, #1 overall. With a little bit of a tape overlay, very cool. Again, this is Jake Created on Instagram. Make sure you drop him a follow. And I like those arrows for sure. That's a cool addition. And we hopped over to Twitter for a second, it looks like. Okay, going into Camera Raw, and yeah, that's it. Well, awesome, guys. And I'll put up his graphic right here so you guys can check it out. But big thanks to Jake for submitting his design. I really enjoyed watching his creative process. And as a reminder, you can hit the link down in the description to vote for him if he is your favorite for this round. But we have another awesome designer coming right up, so let's get over to that. So this next design comes courtesy of Panthers Latest on Instagram. I know we had to fill in for someone that couldn't make our tournament, so shout out to him for that. Unfortunately, he tried to send over a video and it was 16 gigabytes, which if you're familiar with storage, that's bigger than a lot of modern smartphones. So we couldn't do his video recording, to say the least, but he did send over his PSD, and I'm just going to be walking through his PSD and kind of showing each of the layers kind of in a quick fashion for you guys to see his process a little bit. So I'm just going to start off by going through. You can see this nice design right here. I love the art aspect of it, like the layout and the composition. It looks very nice. And we're just going to go through. He has some things applied. I'm just going to go through and get down to the bare bones. And so here you can see we have just some generic Trevor Lawrence profile photos, and it looks like this was one of the photos I had sent over as part of the prompt, and he just cut out the head of Trevor Lawrence. And we can go in here into this smart object and see a little bit more about what he did. So you can see here it looks like he just used this photo. Let me see if I can reveal it. Okay, it's set to multiply 5%, so let's turn it up. So he used this photo right here, and then he extracted some of the elements from the photo. And you can do this by just hitting select, and then color range, and then selecting the shadows in his image. And he used that to just create the black parts of this image. Now, we did a very similar effect in our Design Like NC State video, so make sure you check that out if you are interested in seeing this process. But very cool. So we have this Trevor Lawrence silhouette. It's pretty simple to do. I'm gonna hit don't save so I don't mess any of his settings up. And then it looks like we duplicated that effect in order to get a more dark look. And then here it looks like we have a bit of a leopard print. Now I'm gonna go in and you can see here there is some leopard print with some noise and Gaussian blur applied to that. Very cool. Not leopard, jaguar, obviously. Jaguar print. Let me know in the comments if jaguars and leopards are any different. I'm pretty sure some of those cats are the same, like cougars and mountain lions and stuff like that. So let me know if you know. Beyond that, we just have this smoke right here, and I'm going to turn on the kind of color fill in the background so we can see it a little bit better. So for the smoke, it looks like we have some white shading over here and some black shading, probably with just a plain smoke brush. Yep, that's what it looks like. So we just have a black smoke brush with our opacity set all the way down and a white smoke brush. Just a subtle effect on top of our colorful background. Now for our color background, a couple different effects. It looks like we have a gradient on top, another gradient, and then it looks like, okay, so here we have and let me show. So it looks like we have and I'll turn off the Gaussian blur too. It looks like we just have and I'll click in here. So it looks like we just have a white rectangle border. Very interesting way of doing this. And then it looks like from here, he just added a Gaussian blur and then set his blending mode to dissolve, which is interesting. I've never actually seen anyone use the dissolve filter before, so good on him for doing that. At the very bottom here, it looks like we have another gradient. And let me click in here. So this is just a solid color with some vignette on the edges and then a white overlay. Very cool. Don't save, of course. And then on top of that, so it's interesting to see how many different layers he went through on his gradient to come up with this kind of effect that he was going for. And so that is our background. I do love the different combinations of like the teals and the darker teals, and I just think it looks very nice together. When you're working with a color palette as unique as the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think it's awesome to really exploit those colors. Now, as far as the actual design elements beyond the background go, we just have this Trevor Lawrence text right here. We can double click if you want to see the fonts for my font junkies. So the Trevor font is called Akira Expanded. It's one I've recommended before on the channel. I definitely recommend. I think you can find it for free if you just do a quick Google search. And the script font is called Harley Style. I love the way this looks. Very nice choice. Seems to be a blank layer. And then we have some color codes right here. I love using color codes or just kind of these rectangle looks, just because it's nice to give a nice little detail, a small little thing, a nod to the organization itself, but it also helps in the design process because when you're trying to select colors and stuff, you can just go over to your color codes that you already have in the design. So very useful, but also very cool looking. Now here we have group 5, which this just seems to be text right here and text right here. It says with the first pick in the 2021 draft, the Jaguars select. And then it says Duval, which of course, if you're familiar with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval is a big part of their brand. I'm pretty sure because they're in Duval County in Florida, but I'm not 100% sure, so who knows. And it looks like this font right here is that same Harley script, I think is the name that he had used before. A couple more elements. So it looks like he has this sticker right here that he got from freejack.net. Very cool. And then lastly, just a texture overlay on top. Very nice. Panthers, latest, thank you so much for submitting this, and I really enjoyed going through your PSD. As a reminder, hit the link down in the description to vote on your favorite for this round. And that was Jake Created and Panthers Latest. Thank you to both of them for submitting your designs. We look forward to seeing the results here. As a reminder, head down to the link in the description and fill out the form to vote for your favorite design. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.